Now let's talk about data automation in ArcGIS. And I really like this graphic from a Geospatial World article called How Are Digital Technologies Influencing Geospatial Technology Trends? And if you look at this graphic and the individual boxes and terms that they're described, it has them broken down into geospatial technologies, facilitators, process and delivery platforms, as well as drivers. And a lot of the topics that we've discussed all semester long show up throughout this graphic, including GIS, for example, and GPS, or in standards like metadata standards, talking about delivery platforms like apps and web portals, and drivers like artificial intelligence, cloud, and big data. And so for our last topic, we're going to focus on processes, in particular, workflow automation. And so in ArcGIS, there are different ways that we can automate our work, including geoprocesses, tasks, and workflows. Now, we've already been utilizing geoprocesses. In some way, geoprocesses are automation in of themselves because it's a task that you can repeat by opening the tool and running it again and again. And you can access geoprocesses from ribbons, for example, buttons on a ribbon, or you can search for geoprocesses using find tools or via an analysis gallery, like a drop down analysis gallery on the analysis ribbon. You can also locate geoprocesses by browsing a history. So in the catalog pane, if I click on the history panel, if I've run any geoprocesses recently in an ArcGIS Pro project, I can see that process in the list. And if I double click that process, it'll open it up with the parameters I selected when I ran it. So that's a very simple way to automate processes because you can just go back to a previous process you run, open it up, run it again, or just change a single parameter and run it. In this example, a clip, for example. You can also browse toolboxes. So in the geoprocessing pane, if you click on the toolboxes panel, you can see I have browsed to the clip geoprocessing tool in the analysis toolbox and in the extract tool set. In ArcGIS, geoprocesses can be automated by batching a tool, iterating a model, or running a script. If you look on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see where I have browsed to the clip tool in the analysis toolbox and extract tool set and right-click the tool. So rather than opening it, I'm going to select batch, and that opens up the batch clip pane, which allows me to change the input parameters for multiple runs. And so in this case, I'm choosing a batch parameter to be input features. And if you look at the resulting batch geoprocess I've created, you can see that the batch input features can be changed, in this case to contours, creeks, and flood zones, but we're utilizing the same clip features and a parameter for the output feature class so that we can run this tool once but generate 3 different clipped files. Now the batch clip is saved in your project toolbox. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see in the catalog pane, I have expanded the Mini Muni toolbox to expose the batch clip tool. So I could run it again there, or I can right-click on it and add it to a model. In the middle of your screen, you can see the batch clip as it exists in a ArcGIS model builder model, which I could go in and manipulate it even further so that I could iterate and process through a lot of data or a lot of features at once, for example. Last, you can run geoprocesses as script. At the very top of your screen, you can see a Python window where I'm running the clip geoprocessing tool as a Python script. Another way to automate processes in ArcGIS are via tasks. Tasks are pre-configured steps that guide you through a process. And tasks are really great at enforcing a best practice process in your organization, providing an efficient, repeatable workflow, or even creating a training tutorial with guided interactive steps. And if you look in the middle of your screen, you can see some examples of a task and related steps. In the tasks pane, you can see the manage address data. That's the task item that has task groups, including facilities, roads, and site addresses. And within those groups, you can see individual tasks like new facility site polygon and new facility site points. And if you open one of those tasks, for example, the new facility site polygons, it opens the task with the individual steps that step you through this repeatable workflow. On the right-hand side, you can see the task designer that is utilized to edit, create, and publish tasks like the manage address data task item. So while tasks and models both can be utilized to automate geoprocesses, there are some differences. Tasks are designed for user interaction. So sometimes there are steps in a process that you're just not going to be able to model every different iteration that might occur. And so you can use a task so that the user can interpret the results and then step through the rest of the process. Models are really good at running automatically without user interaction. Tasks are best for sequential, repeatable workflows. Models are really great at iterating through a process again and again and again with things like preconditions that you can enter on the front end and branching within the actual run itself. Tasks can call commands, geoprocessing tools, scripts, and manipulate selections. They're very powerful. Models can only call geoprocessing tools. So models can be steps in a task, but a task cannot be processes in a model. And which approach you use, task or model, depends on really what you're trying to accomplish. The last approach to data automation in ArcGIS I want to discuss are workflows. Workflows are where you can take an entire workflow or a bunch of tasks and processes for your entire business and standardize them within an extension that you can open it up in ArcGIS that allows you to actually create and assign work, for example, to users to track the progress, to find all the jobs, for example, assigned to a particular work or working group. You can manage versions and model complex relationships between different users and processes in a workflow. You can distribute work geographically, and you can utilize it to manage a distributed workforce. And that's it. So let's review our performance criteria. At this point, you should be able to list the benefits of automating work. For example, that it's easier, faster, and more accurate. You should be able to describe the types of data processes that can be automated, including collecting, assimilating, and transforming data, analyzing, presenting, and managing data, and communicating, monitoring, and forecasting data. You should be able to differentiate between desktop, enterprise, and cloud-based automation and understand which approach is best depending on the users and the complexity of the processes you're trying to automate. You should be able to describe different GIS data automation processes. For example, geoprocesses, tasks, and workflows. Last, and by the time you complete the demonstration in the project, you should be able to automate a data process using GIS.